lot of other shit going on in January.
Like what?
The United States government is going to start seizing wages of student loan borrowers who are in default starting January 2026.
A mess.
If you haven't been paying your student loans, now is the time to do so because they're about to start taking your money.
Well, I think about it like this. And I said this before. How many people out there not paying child support? How many people? A lot.
But a lot of those people go to jail though. So
sometimes my father is still at large. Ain't never paid a stitch of child support. Okay, walking around here free. And then also, like, what is it? The Pentagon couldn't pass the audit.
Exactly.
So why?
Like, where are these billions at? This is not just this year. This is the last 8 years.
Yes, I was gonna say they consistently cannot pass the audit. So it does seem a little unfair. No, it seems unfair to go after the everyday hardworking people for student loans who have like this runaway interest associated. You're not even paying back what you borrowed.
In the words of Republican Senator, Republican Senator, Tim Scott.
Mine?
He said, if you take out a loan, you got to pay it back.
Cut and dry.
I love that clip. He was talking to Congress or somebody like that. That shit was so funny. It went so viral. But what's your thoughts on that? I mean, you took out a loan, pay it back. Like,
my thoughts are that loans are predatory, and I think I'm just going to speak for myself. I took out loans because I wasn't in a position to go to college any other way.
Right.
And so I think if you put people in positions to need predatory systems like loans, and then I'm going to pile up this interest. And then you look at me like, well, you have to pay back this loan. One, I'm not even paying back the principal amount that I borrowed.
Yeah.
And two, you're not doing it. It's predatory. So why don't we fix the system so that I can pay my loan? I feel more empowered to pay my loans back. Because here's the thing that's going to happen. People are going to have to start paying their loans back, and then they're not going to be able to eat. And then they're not going to be able to have gas. And then they're not going to be able to pay their electricity bills.
That is what's going to send.
That's the problem.
This is going to send the U.S. economy into a recession.
What?
This is going to send it.
Yes. It's going to send the U.S. economy into a depression.
The student loan deferment has been propping up the U.S. economy for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Because when in 2020, 2021, when Biden said basically...
And education should be free.
When they basically said you don't have to pay student loans.
Yeah.
And then when they were trying to bring it back, they litigated, and then they basically deferred it again. And he kept trying to cancel student loans.
Yeah.
And he was able to cancel
a few of them for, I think...
people who are disabled.
Yes. Service people.
Servicemen. Yeah. You know, they litigated the part where the people who do the public service, like if you were a teacher for 12 years or 10 years.
And you don't have any late payments.
No late payments. That was being disputed. They went to the Supreme Court.
That's crazy.
And all that.
That's so crazy.
Now they're starting back. And like what you said, okay, let's say I got $400 in student loans in a payment. Okay, now I'm not going grocery shopping.
Right.
Or if I'm going grocery shopping, I'm only getting a few items. Or let's say I'm going grocery shopping, but now I'm not going to Chick-fil-A. I'm not going to these places.
Yes.
So that's going to strain a lot of people's budget because now they're just garnishing it. It ain't like you got to go pay it. Now, if they would have said, okay, now it's time to pay, that'll be a little different than, okay, we're going to start garnishing.
Send your wages.
Most people don't have $1,000 for an emergency.
Yeah.
Most people don't have that.
Let alone they student loan. And then what you're going to force people to do is to hide their assets. Because if...
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to put I ain't putting nothing in the bank.
I was about to say, or I'm not going to put anything in my name. Like, my thing is, y'all are not getting this money. Not from... Y'all are not getting this money. Not from the American people. So... why don't you just subsidize the schools like y'all been doing? Why don't you just subsidize the schools? That way the people who are qualified to for admissions into the school get into the school without that financial burden. That way,
well, the only way they can do that is by the financial burden comes. It don't come. So okay, the loans and the schools go hand in hand. It's kind of like the chicken. It's like the chicken or the egg.
Right.
Okay, but the schools are the problem. It's not necessarily the loan.
That's what I'm saying. The schools need the tuition for the funding to do whatever they need to do to pay the teachers.
It goes towards administrative work. So they just kind of funding all of this nonsense. Really, the issue is, these schools, they can charge you an exorbitant amount of money because James and Chap, who goes to school at 18 with
nothing
type of sense of what they want to do with their life, they just trying to get out of and better their situation.
Yeah,
they sign you up for tuition that costs $40,000-$50,000 a year, and your mind can't process what $50,000 and $5,000 and $500,000. You don't know the difference. You're just signing it.
You might as well tell me $1 million.
You're just signing it when you're 18, and then when you get out of school, they say, "Oh, well, you got 6 months and you got $168,000 in student loans." You're like, "What the?
How?
What do you mean?"
How?
Now you're starting to process how much $168,000 is, because
especially because you only get $50,000.
Exactly, you get a job offer and you only making $40,000-$50,000. So now you're like,
but it's a daily compound. So the way I realize what daily compound interest is, and mind you, I was a finance major, so I had to do compounded interest like by hand and calculator and stuff like that. But it's nothing like seeing your name.
That's when it become real.
It's literally, it's
that's
like
when it become real.
Oh, so this daily compound, this is serious. Every single day they charging you $50 more.
Yep, and that sound low? Shit.
Times it by, but
then your payment, any payment you do goes towards paying the interest. It's not paying the principal.
So that's what I'm saying. If you regulate the amounts that schools like need to charge, and then whatever they say they need to charge, just give it to them.
All right, hold on. Now, don't say that, because your president, Donald Trump, just put a new law and regulation in that put caps on borrowing money from med school, borrowing money from law school, and he put a lot of caps on it. And I heard a lot of black professionals mad at that, because what it does hurt you if you are poor, because if you're going to med school, borrowing $200,000, or going to law school, borrowing $200,000 is like normal. It shouldn't be, because those schools shouldn't be charging that much. But because the schools are not charging less, you have to borrow more. So what it does is disappropriately disadvantages people of color and people who come
because they must borrow more.
They don't have a choice. So if the government puts a cap on your law school and says you only can borrow $50,000 a year, well, tuition is $46,000. Tuition is $45,000. I need to live. I can't work. You literally can't work the first few years of law school and the first few years of
you're in the library.
Exactly. So now it's so exactly what you just said. They need caps on it. He just did the caps. On the borrowing. That's not solving the problem. That's putting a Band-Aid over the problem, and that's disappropriating. That's hurting black people. What the cap need to be on is the tuition.
You're not the borrow. But here's the thing. Both. It's a both. We don't live in a
I know what you're trying to say.
How about this? The polarizations of every issue in this country has got to stop. There is so much gray. So yes, put a cap on the amount you're allowed to borrow. Put a cap on the amount allowed to charge. And whatever that gap is, if it's reasonable, because nobody want to go to no broke down school that can't cut their grass, that don't have.
Remember, I was telling you that's why 30-40% of schools probably should go
out of business. So,
or they should retool themselves and teach trade schools.
Yes, accelerated programs. No, I agree with that one wholeheartedly. But the idea that I'm going to cap this, but that's the problem with your president, is that he's the only thing that
but at least he did something,
this party does,
to be honest,
is but they're so shallow with understanding the context of the issue. The issue is not just
the issue is the tuition.
The issue is not just one thing. Yes, people are borrowing way too much money. people are put in positions to borrow way too much money.
Yeah.
So yes, you need cap on borrowing, but also you need a cap on charging. And if the college can argue that, hey, because we have a cap on charging students, we are in a deficit of we're not going to make budget. Give it to them, because the same way you gave the stadium $1 million to build a new Kansas City
1.8 billion,
a football stadium, give it to them because you need education.
Well, I think that might not solve the problem if you bail them out. It don't matter where the money come. If you bailing me out, if you giving me the money, it kind of don't matter where it comes from. The issue is a lot of these schools are bloated and overflated because they have the money and they should really be out of business. A lot of these schools, if they were private entities, they would go bankrupt. It's because they're subsidized by tax dollars from the federal.
I was about to say they're already subsidized. So
it's because they're subsidized. That's why a lot of these schools are floating.
Yeah.
So what needs to happen is it needs to be a cap on borrowing, and it needs to be, okay, your tuition needs to at least grow with inflation. Inflation is 2 to 3% a year. These schools, if you look at them over the last 10, 15 years, they've been growing at 10 to 12%. That's why our parents, I don't know.
You're saying they're making too much money.
No, I'm saying they're charging too much money, which in turn they're making a lot of money, and they're not reinvesting. It's not like they're reinvesting that into the students. And then the problem is also these students can't get jobs.
Because I was about to say, you have access to your career development department a year after graduation. But there's no guarantee that you're going to get a job in your field, or that the pay is going to be suitable or something like that. So also, I think that these schools, especially these more prestigious schools, should utilize their network to help their students.
Well, it's not really the prestigious schools. You go to Harvard, you go to Yale, you go to Brown, you go to these schools. A lot of those students, even if they struggle coming out early on, they eventually are going to end up doing really, really well, solely because of their network, the name that carries, all of this. Those are not the big issues that I see in the education.
But I was about to say, but that's the big tuition.
I know, but a lot of those kids that go to Yale, go to Harvard, a lot of them are rich. Most of them are. It's some that squeak in.
Okay.
You went there. So
I was about to say, I ain't rich.
But I'm saying you went there, though.
Yes.
So you can just, you know that a lot, if you're walking down the hallway of Yale University.
There are students there whose families donated buildings. Like, absolutely,
correct.
100%.
But when you go to the problem is when you go to these these private schools that are not prestigious, and they're charging you Harvard prices. Yeah. But you don't get Harvard results. I'm okay with paying Harvard prices if I get Harvard results. If I'm paying private prices, $40,000-$50,000 a year, but then I get out and I'm only making $60,000. Yeah. Like, your name don't hold weight in the employment line. Yeah. That's the issue, because money is all relative. Yes, I'll borrow $1 million if I can make 50. Anybody, any mathematician, any economist will tell you that's good number.
Yeah. Like, but why not?
Why would I borrow $150 if I'm only getting paid $40? Well, that's the problem. So
you're saying even if the government did over subsidize some of these schools so that you didn't have to borrow as much, the problem is still that the students are not able to, I guess,
the students not being able
the wages that they're able to obtain is not proportional to
the price that they're being charged.
Okay.
So the real, and you know this too, the real problem is some of those private schools who sell that they are prestigious, but then you get humbled when you go into the real world and you're saying, "Oh, I went to this so-and-so private college,"
right.
And it's
and
like,
they're like, "Who?
Okay, here's $50,000."
But at the same time, I also think that there's a little caveat there, right? These private entities, which I went to, I went to St. John's for undergrad. I went to Yale for graduate school. St. John's is really big in New York. Right. But people don't know it outside of New York. So it's like, it's one of the, or outside of the Coming to America movie.
So you're saying it will hold a lot more weight on the East Coast than
same thing with Georgia Tech. Same thing
with Georgia Tech holds a lot of weight.
Georgia Tech is like Yale out here. Yeah. Like Georgia
Emory,
Tech.
Same thing,
You come from Georgia Tech, you come out of Emory, you're straight. But
in the South,
in the South, I was about to say,
like
but
Rice University in Houston.
Yeah,
you go to Rice University,
people know it, and so I think also. If you're going to charge those type of prices, because you do look at yourself as a prestigious institution,
your stuff need to be able to translate.
It has to translate globally. I should not have to stay.
I should be able to go to London and get
a job. Exactly.
Because I went to Yale or Harvard or Oxford.
But because I went to St. John's, and I was a finance major, I was a business major. Tobin School of Business, they made a big deal about it. But it's really known on Wall Street. Yeah. So it's like, but I don't want to go to Wall Street.
You better go to Wall Street.
so
at least do a couple years.
You hilarious. So I think it's also these schools are sometimes a little niche.
Yeah.
And that's why it doesn't translate too.
Yeah.
Because
that makes sense. Because if you go to Georgia Tech and then you go up to Ohio trying to do something.
They gonna treat you like a regular.
Yeah, and you don't have no crazy network, and that's the problem too. Your Georgia Tech network is primarily in Georgia. If your Harvard network might be everywhere.
Yes.
University of Michigan, they're everywhere because those are big schools.
And then I will say that the more prestigious institutions, they alumni don't play about you. Like coming from Yale, like if I can go on LinkedIn right now and plug in, and I will be welcomed with open arms across most political platforms, affiliations. Is like it's above that. You a Yelly, that's different.
Right.
So I think also to that network and expanding. That's what I meant. But to your point, I was talking more so about the more prestigious institutions. They don't really play about their alumni network
because they want you to.
They want you to succeed.
They don't want they don't want no broke, homeless, helpless, Harvard grads running around. Like they probably. They don't want that because it put a stain on their image and their prestige. So it's like, damn, this person went and now they're homeless? Like, no, I don't want that. But some of these other private schools or public schools, they don't really care.
They almost run themselves like the Army. I don't know if you ever met somebody who's in the military, but like when you're in the military, whether you're on base or off base, like the military feels like you represent us.
Yeah, that's why when it's like homeless,
it's like people are like, "What's going on?"
Like that. I mean, but it's people who be lying like they homeless vets. They really don't be vets. They just say that.
Again, you are damaging the institution.
Yeah.